Don't say shit or piss.
We are live on the YouTube. Hello, YouTube. We are live.
Right.
So I shall send you the link, and then you can.
We're just fannying about at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, we always do
doing
this.
technical stuff. Well, I've got to do the housekeeping
Copy
first.
streaming link. Send link to Freda. Here we go.
Right.
There you go. There's the link. You've got it.
You'll have to talk now while I'm just.
I have to talk and do computer stuff at the same time.
Yeah. Can you do three things at once?
No, I can't.
Right.
We're live. We're live everywhere.
So yeah, what's the first topic?
Okay, so topic numero one was I wanted to talk about last Friday's night out in Manchester.
Oh yeah,
we had a good time, didn't we? So this was you doing one of your I don't think it was poetry, was it? Was it poetry?
I call it performance.
I'm not sure you would call poetry with a megaphone poetry, but anyway,
I call it performance poetry.
Performance poetry. So this was in the Pier Hat in Northern Quarter in Manchester, and Miss Freda Wallace was dressed in a nice big green dress, long black hair, megaphone, and she was basically walking around the streets of Manchester tormenting people with her megaphone, not actually shouting at them in the streets, but she was kind of,
was trying to cause a disturbance.
People with causing a public disturbance. Yes. We did lots of photo shoots, bit of videoing, and then we went to the club. They were a bit late starting, but it was really good. You were first on, and you did your.
I think we confused a few people because the lady that runs it, Amy, she was like, "Oh, nobody's coming down." She was like, "Nobody's coming downstairs. They're all set up in the bar, and there's nobody downstairs." So she said, "Will you shout through the megaphone that the night is starting?" I was like, "What do you want me to say?" So I just come downstairs. Art is happening.
I think everybody kind of spilt the beer at that point when you did that.
Yeah, then the whole room went quiet for a moment.
It went deadly quiet. No one.
And then some people. There was a lovely couple that followed us down.
Oh yeah, there was the elderly couple. Well, I guess they were kind of elderly. They're probably my age.
A bit older than the demographic, I think.
Yes.
But they missed it because it took them that long to get in.
It took them that long to get downstairs, and
a queue had formed through
the door and paid their money. But anyway, we had a little chat with them afterwards. They were really nice, weren't they? And wanted to see the video we just done.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure where they were from. I'm not sure if they were from somewhere in the UK or somewhere.
I can't remember. Somewhere.
They were really nice, giving you lots of compliments and talking to us. So shouts out to them, and also shouts out to the guy with the beer.
Oh yeah. So when I was doing my thing, when I was with the megaphone and shouting my poetry, this guy just looked like he'd wandered in from the bar. It was like, what the fuck's going on?
He looked a bit dazed. So he was like, he was stood there really kind of, oh shit, what have I let myself in for here?
Yeah.
With Freda walking around him with a megaphone. Anyway, it was good. We had a good time.
So yeah, well, I'm glad, but we didn't stick around too long. We've kind of disappeared.
We didn't know, but we were waiting a couple of hours to get on, weren't we?
We went to Manchester's premier heavy metal bar after that, didn't we?
Oh God, the heavy metal bar! I'd forgotten about that. I think I'd deleted that from my brain. It was so loud in there, I couldn't even think.
Well, it was so loud, and when we went in as the DJ, and I tried to have a bit of a joke with him because I went up to him and said, "What time's the bingo?" And he just wasn't having it.
He wasn't too happy with that comment.
So I said, "Have you got any Iron Maiden?"
But it was a heavy metal bar, and
he played Run to the Hills for me, and that was lovely.
But it was surprising how many sad, lonely men there were just kind of standing around.
Well, that's just Manchester in general, isn't it?
So, yeah, I was almost beginning to feel sorry for them at one point.
Well, talking about sad, lonely men, I went on a date, didn't I, last night?
Well, hang on, just before you go on to your date, who was that man giant that was there?
Oh, that's Tom. Joe's my friend.
My word, I don't think I've ever seen anybody as tall and butch as Tom.
Yeah, he's tall and wide.
He's tall, wide. He must be 7 foot tall, built like a Viking. Oh my word, that's what I'm saying.
I've known Tom for about 10 years. Yeah, it's going.
One thing about having Tom sat at your table, you can guarantee there's going to be no trouble that night.
Yeah.
It's kind of reassuring.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. And
anyway, go on. You were about to talk about your date.
Yeah, I went on a date. It was kind of nice. I got talking to a guy, and it's like, oh, he was talking to me about art and music, and I was like, oh, he's really interesting because he kind of knew what he was talking about. And I like, he's talking about some of the artists that I like. So I met him in Bolton, and it was all going all right. But I think he was sort of, I wasn't sure, because like as trans women, we're kind of aware of, are they meeting us because we're trans, or do you know what I mean? So he started asking me kind of questions about medical stuff about my body, and I was like, oh, this is weird. Why are you asking me? Have I going to have an operation? Would you ask a cis woman that? If you're on a date? No, probably not.
No,
but I didn't shy away from it. I just spoke about it, but it put me off him because it made me feel like I was a bit of a sort of curiosity piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, so was he aware that you're trans before you went?
Oh yeah, of course.
So you're up front with him.
I wouldn't go on a date with a man if without that information. But the thing is, he made it about that.
Yeah.
Which to me, it's not. I was going out for a drink. I don't necessarily want to talk about
my
my medical history.
Like a fetish curiosity thing.
Yeah, I suppose. But I mean, it's okay to ask those kind of questions if you offer it. But I think when it comes out of nowhere, it's kind of like feels a bit. Oh.
So will there be another date?
Not with him. I don't know.
He failed to impress Miss Freda Wallace. I'm assuming.
He just failed to turn me on in a very visceral way. So, which was a shame because I was quite horny.
Too much information.
There's never too much information on this podcast.
Okay. That's true. And if there is, we need to provide more. So my week was quite a busy week. I started the week off with a 50th birthday party for my sister-in-law, which was really nice. It was in Timperley in a nice posh
Timperley's nice.
It was very posh.
Very posh suburb of Manchester.
Yes, and I spent most of the night with a couple of Scottish girls getting drunk.
Well, they're the best kind of girls to get drunk with.
Well, they were drinking. They weren't drinking glasses of Prosecco. They were drinking bottles of Prosecco.
Pints of Prosecco.
Yeah, so I helped them with that task they had in hand. Yeah, it was great. Went to the Trans in the City event this week, Monday. That was amazing. Really enjoyed it. Lots of, it was an all-day event. There was lots of different companies there, big well-known companies like Amazon, BAE Systems, all kinds of companies there. And they were doing workshops and talks throughout the day from about 10 till 3, which was really good.
I heard you met Annie Wallace again.
I did. Annie was there. We had a little chat.
Yeah, my sister.
Loads of kind of A-listers. I think she's an A-lister. She's an A-lister to me anyway.
So who was the Oscar? You mentioned Oscar.
I did a podcast this afternoon, with Oscar Hoyle. He was there in the evening as well. He's a director from Blossom LGBT in Surrey. That was really fun this afternoon doing that.
Yeah, I followed him on Twitter.
Yeah, he's nice. So, actually, we should correct ourselves. He's non-binary, so they are nice.
They are nice.
They are nice. So yeah, Trans in the City event. The evening event was amazing. There was lots of speeches and videos. Bobby Pickard did an amazing job. So did Emily Hamilton doing the presentations. It was really well done. So the categories of prizes, well, not prizes, awards. I'll just go through them quickly. We had Trans Inclusive Organisation was won by Diva magazine. Don't know if you read that.
Oh, I love Diva magazine.
Diva, yes,
they love us. It's so good that Diva.
Yeah, they were there, and Linda was there, the producer of Diva magazine.
I must admit, I've never actually purchased a Diva magazine. I've read their articles online, and they're really good.
Yeah, well, they have a printed magazine. I think it's about £4.50 something a month. Really good. I get it. Ally of the Year went to Avril Clark.
Did Eva Echo? Eva.
Yeah. So the next award was Trans Community Champion. Now there was two winners for this. I think it was hard to decide between the two. So Katie Neves, our friend Katie, she won.
Oh, fantastic. Lovely Katie.
And Eva Echo was the other winner.
Yeah, it's to see. It's great to see people getting
and they both
recognized for the stuff they do, because like Eva is great on Instagram. She just does these really nice pieces, positivity,
she's very positive.
Information about trans issues. It's just really nice, simple, and it's effective. And she
both great. I mean, both of them, Katie and Eva, well deserved.
Yeah.
Charity of the year went to Trans Aid. I think it's Cymru, Wales. That was really good. There was a special award for Young Trans Community Champion, and that went to Emily. Little Emily.
Emily, yeah.
Emily, the daughter of Emma. So it was great to see Emily win something. She was nominated last year and just didn't quite win, but this year I think they made a special effort just for Emily, and she won. And it was an amazing thing to see.
It's just really nice.
She got a standing ovation, did a little speech. I mean, can you imagine at that age? I think she's 13.
Wow.
Doing a thank you speech in front of like over 600 people. Could you have done that at that age?
I didn't know my ass from my elbow.
Yeah,
even when I was like 16.
I was so shy and wrong at that age.
I'm pretty shy now, to be honest. The thing is with that, like sometimes when I see young people that are really confident, like even in the 20s, I think, oh my God, it's so precious because like, I don't know if I don't think it's that, like maybe it's a generational thing, but I think when I think back to when I was 16, 17, I was so, there wasn't this kind of culture of being out and the references and social media and all that. So I think, it's really positive, the openness that we can have now, because there's a negative people will say, oh, there's so many influences on making, transgenderism and all this, but all it does really is it puts things on the table, and the backlash you see against that comes from people that are fearful.
Yeah, well, it was lovely. It was lovely to see, Emily win.
Yeah,
she was so happy, big smile, great speech.
I wish I could have been there, but
well, next year you'll be there.
Definitely.
Trans corporate champion, Leng Montgomery won that.
Who's that? Leng,
L-E-N-G.
All right.
And there was a special CEO award, which went to Sue and Bob Allen and Janet and Bruce Kent, and they are from FLAG in Bristol, which I think is a charity for families and trans people and LGBT people, I think. But what was really interesting about that was Bruce's speech. Quite an elderly gentleman, did an amazing, powerful speech. They basically had to fight the microphone off him to get him off the stage. It was so good. The whole thing was recorded and is on YouTube. So I'll put the link in the.
I need to catch up with that
afterwards. But it was great. It was a really good event. So next year, Freda.
I will definitely book the time off. Yeah,
book time off. So you can. That was really well worth it. So there was that. We should also mention that this week is Trans Awareness Week.
Yes,
and
you're very much aware of us.
Of Remembrance on the 20th. There's an event going on in Sackville Gardens at the memorial. I think this will be the last time the memorial is going to be there. I think I read somewhere in the information that came out about the event that the monument is going to be removed after the event.
Is this where the tree was that was damaged?
The wooden monument.
Yeah, because it was vandalized, wasn't it?
It was burnt
a couple of months ago.
Yes, it's
we still don't know who was responsible.
We don't really know what happened, do we? I don't think we'll ever will. But
it did feel like a sort of targeted thing, though.
Yeah,
to target.
It's not the first time it's been burned. It has happened before. So the whole thing is gutted inside. It's just like a wooden tube now. There's bits falling off it, last time I saw it.
Well, the thing is, it'll be rebuilt and it'll be better and it'll be more poignant.
More
it's like, because you
substantial,
cannot,
maybe steel,
it's not
concrete.
the thing with symbols and things like that. It's not the physical presence, it's the idea that matters,
which you can't destroy.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, whatever people try and do to vandalize these things, the sentiment is always there, and it makes it stronger in a way, because you know, any kind of vandalism like that, it proves to us why we need to be visible and why we need these things, you know.
Yeah, so I'm going to go on Sunday. I don't know. Are you thinking of going?
This Sunday I'm working, unfortunately.
Are you working?
Yeah, I'm picking up some weekend shifts because it's nearly Christmas and I need to pick up some money.
I shall go and represent Gender Nebulous.
Yeah, do that. But if I could do,
I think there's quite a few people I know that are going. So
I wish I could be there. But I mean, if I'm driving around near the area, I'll pop round in my ambulance. Over. If I get my dinner break in Manchester, I might be able to do that. You'll have to give me the times.
It's 5:15, Sackville Gardens.
Yeah, well, sometimes, you know, I have been, when I've been working around Manchester city centre and I have my dinner break, I will go and sit with Alan Turing in Sackville Garden. Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work. Whether there's something else afterwards, or they go into one of the clubs or something. I don't know. But
well, I like sitting with Alan Turing because he'll just listen to me and he don't talk back. I said, don't eat the apple, Alan. Don't leave. Put the apple down.
So that will be good.
So where are we up to with you know, the what is it? The thing in Sackville Gardens, is it like an organized thing?
Yeah, it's an organized event. I'm not sure who's organizing it. I think it might be LGBT Foundation.
Right. Okay. Right.
So I think they've organized it. I don't know. But I found the event on Facebook, and I noticed there was a few people going. So I'll be there.
Well, I'll try and be there.
Yeah, try and get there. Be nice to see you there.
Send me a message when you're there, and I'll see where I am.
Yeah. So other stuff that's in the news. I think it's time to discuss some of the news items this week. Do you have anything you want to bring up specifically?
Well, I was interested in this thing with, you know, Kathleen Stock.
Kathleen Stock, I'm not aware of this one. Go on.
She did a talk at Cambridge University, and it's like this idea of, do we have the right to offend? Right, you know, she's sort of defending that right to be offensive. So
it's the old free speech thing again.
Yeah, so we all have that. You know, we all have the right to offend. It's just
you have the right to think what you like, but if you start being
of course. But the thing they want, there's a very specific thing, isn't there, that she wants to say?
Yeah,
and we know what that is.
We do.
And does it carry any value? Because if she, like, we know what it is, and it's this idea that if Kathleen Stock was honest and just said, look, I don't believe trans women are men, that's fine. We can move on. You believe that. But this idea that, you know, once you've said that, that's over. There's nothing to build on.
We know her position anyway. You know, I mean, it's not. I don't.
Because what they actually want to say is they're fighting against the idea of being called out for it. So it's an.
Well, I mean, you can't. In my opinion, you can hold whatever views you like as long as that's your view, and fine, whatever. But if you start using that view to harm other people or to, you know, say hurtful things about them, and, you know, basically abuse that person.
Well, the way I see it,
that's where the problem comes in. But I mean, she can think what she likes. I don't care what.
The thing is, unless you're targeting somebody personally, I don't care. But the problem is, if you're trying to influence government policy, which is what the LGBT
they do that too.
Foundation are trying to do, then it's not about that anymore. It's about that, you know, they have a movement and lobby group with an aim and an objective, and that's different than saying something offensive.
Yeah,
it's different than having an individual opinion. Because if you start to say, look, we are going to get a group of people together that already also agree with that individual opinion, that's a conspiracy. And that cabal of people who have this intention to diminish rights, to harm people, that's the problem. So they don't like it, because if it was just Kathleen Stock and her individual opinion, whatever, it's not though, is it? It's because her opinion, some people, the idea of free speech is okay, right? But the thing is, free speech is not a level playing field. Some people have got bigger rocks to throw from higher platforms that land and create bigger waves. And somebody like us, we can have opinions on Twitter, but nobody's fucking listening.
Well, it's back to what Graham Norton said, accountability, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But you say if you're somebody like J.K. Rowling, or if you're somebody like Mayor Forstarter, if you're somebody like that who's got quite a large following, and their words, while we've all got free speech, their words carry more meaning because of it. So when people criticize them, we're not saying you shouldn't have that opinion. What we are saying is we need to monitor how much influence, because people can be swayed politically, voters can be swayed by lobby groups. And that's the thing we're criticizing. We're not criticizing the fact that Kathleen Stock can have an opinion. She can have whatever opinion she likes, but the problem is when that is weighted moralistically and through lobby groups, through very powerful right-wing, sometimes Christian right-wing funded lobby groups.
You're talking about the Conservative Party, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. And they are all for this because they recognize that, that there's mileage to be made out of that division. So
yeah, I mean, we resist it, don't we? We campaign against that negativity with our positivity.
Well, like recently with Twitter, the Elon Musk thing, and you saw this influx of people testing.
Oh yeah,
they sort of testing the idea of free speech on Twitter,
creating fake accounts with blue.
So you had this kind of groundswell of people saying abhorrent things to test that. People using the N-word. There was a report that it was used like 12 times more than it would have been, because
so there's been an increase in the usage.
Yeah, there's been an increase in abuse because they think they have, but it's like a sort of childish screaming, like, this is the thing I can't say, so I'm going to say it really loudly.
I mean, that brings us on to the other thing we were going to talk about on this same kind of theme, and it was these Twitter Spaces, Robbie Travers. Yeah,
so I had been.
So you've been listening in on a couple of these and talking on a couple this week. Yeah. I've been skulking in the background listening because I just don't want to talk on that. It's horrible. I have to say that those spaces are probably some of the worst things I've ever heard people say about transgender people.
Well, what I noticed is
I wouldn't name Travers normally. But in this instance, he's so negative.
With creating those spaces is giving platform to people that have got very extreme opinions about trans people. So, they talk about I heard, and I've recorded them comparing us to sexual predators, real threats. And I was talking, and I requested to speak. And I spoke and I talked about my positive experience, like being because the only way they can see trans people is in a negative way. They think about the surgery as mutilation. They just have
nothing positive to say at all.
Right. So I was saying, look, I'm positive. I don't want to cause any controversy. I'm just who I am. And so the thing that came back from that was there was just this really nasty kind of, you're taking over women's spaces, you're taking over women's sports, you're taking over, women's prisons. And I'm like, these arguments, all they want to say really is that we are not valid as people. Well, they have to use these performative arguments all the time that weight us, that are morally weighted to say that we are a threat. Now, once they have that in their mind that trans women are a threat, or trans people, it's usually trans women though that
it's always trans women.
And they see it as a fetish. They see it as like, they can't. Another thing is they can never see us outside of the realm of sex.
Yeah,
there seems to be always this sexual dimension to our existence. So while we are, human beings and we have sex, my reason for being trans is not sexual, So, but they find these instances of men, we know there's like a spectrum of transvestitism, cross-dressing and all this, and there is a fetish element to that, but it's like they only see that, and that's the only thing they can see. So they use that against us. And what that does really, it demonstrates their shaming of people. I mean, what is wrong with having a fetish, really? You know what I mean? As long as you're not hurting anyone.
Yeah,
I mean, I know the kind of guy, like, because I'm involved in the fetish scene. I go to fetish clubs, but I meet cis women that dress up in PVC and wear all kinds of, what would be considered fetish clothing, but they get a sort of pleasure out of that. There's nothing wrong with that. But because they're associating it with something like wrong, everything is about associating it with wrongdoing.
Yeah.
So if you ever suggest, oh yeah, I felt sexy in a nice dress.
I mean, they were bringing in religious arguments into those discussions too. They were bringing in all kinds of nonsense, far right stuff.
Oh yeah, but those worlds intersect.
I know.
And there was one guy in that chat space that was saying, if I saw you in a toilet and I was with my daughter, and he was like, I would beat you up, basically. So that is absolutely,
it's like the pinnacle of hate.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you met that guy in real life,
it would be dangerous.
Yeah, because they are the danger.
You've recorded all those sessions, and you're going to use that in your project that you're doing.
Yeah, but what I do with the recordings, I don't use the people's. You're
going to anonymize it.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously.
Oh, that's fine.
I protect the people because people say things candidly, they might not.
Yeah, as long as you don't associate with an individual or use their voice, you can.
But it's really fascinating what people say when they think they're
and they were kind of egging each other on, and as soon as they're referring to you as Mr. Freda all the time,
Oh yeah, they deliberately dead name and they deliberately misgender because what it is, it's like they've got this freedom to do that in that space. And what Robbie Travers is doing is creating a space where they'll say to me, well, what is a woman? And things like that. I'm like, well, I don't fucking know.
Last week's answer.
Why should I know that? It's like, why do trans people always have to know because minutiae of the condition?
Educate everybody on this topic, It's like,
yeah, but I can talk about that, but the point is that I shouldn't have to, and it's not my job.
So, are you going to continue to go in these spaces and?
I'll do it anonymous. I'll do it anonymously because I don't want to speak to them anymore. Because it's quite. I mean, after a couple of sessions of that, a friend of mine, Rebecca Jones. I don't know if you heard her. She was in there, and she's trans, and she talked to them, and they were just horrible to her. And I actually spoke to her after and asked her if she's all right, and she says, "Look, it's really it
can affect you, so you got to be careful."
So you wake up the next morning, and it's your first thought.
Yeah, well, this is why you need to be careful, because it's it's nasty, negative stuff, and if you're subjecting yourself to it, on a regular basis, it's going to start making you worry.
Well, this is the thing with Twitter. Like sometimes I'll go in for Twitter debates and I'll talk to people who are gender critical, and I'm never abusive to them. I'm never nasty. I'll just say, I'll explain to them why I think they're wrong. But then the next morning I'll open my phone. When you get up and you just look at your phone, I've got like 15, 16 notifications from people who are just like saying, "You're a man." You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
It gives you an opportunity to block them, I guess.
Yeah. But I try not to block.
I mean, what I was also doing during those sessions was I was going through every person on the list and blocking every single one of them, except the ones that I knew were trans and doing what I was doing, just there listening. Yeah, it's very disturbing.
It is disturbing because the thing is, like, Twitter is pretty good at monitoring abuse, to be honest. Or it has been.
I'll come in there if you need support. But I wouldn't go in.
But these little groups, it's a bit mask off, isn't it? Because the people where you'll see people saying, look, we don't hate trans women. We just care about women's sports. And we don't hate trans women. We care about women in prison. And we don't hate trans women. We care about single sex. No, you don't care about that, because if you did,
if they cared about those issues, they would be working towards fixing those issues instead of spending time in stupid Twitter spaces, talking about trans women.
Exactly. But the reason it's a very simple narrative, isn't it?
It's like feeding time at the demons.
Yeah, but for some people, I think some people are genuinely insecure, maybe damaged. Maybe there's people there that have had incidents of sexual abuse. Maybe it's not for me to... But they've found a really simple way to say this is the problem. And it's not. We're not the problem. It's systemic misogyny that's the problem.
Yes.
And I'll always say that because, like in my job, I've worked with vulnerable women. I've worked with people that have been on the streets and suffered with drug and alcohol addiction, women, and they never... Trans people are not on their list of problems. The problem is the system that the abuse that they've received is not coming from that direction. It's coming from that systemic misogynistic culture that we live in. And trans women also suffer those things, like I know what it's like to be in a club or in a pub and have some guy suddenly, invade your space. They don't care if you're trans or not.
No,
you know what I mean? This can happen, but this is the world we live in, Anyway.
So you will be concluding your project at some point, hopefully.
Well, I'm putting it... it's a sort of a long-term project, that, because...
See where it goes.
And a lot of the stuff I've recorded, I can't listen to it. Honestly, I can't listen to it until I'm in the right frame of mind, because I know when I listen to it back, it's going to make me angry.
Yeah.
But it's there. And
anyway, keep up the good work.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the outcome is really.
Well, I mean, it's if you continue your project, maybe you can do something
Excuse
with
me.
You okay?
I just got a bit of a fright.
You can maybe do something with the library with it. I don't know, but
yeah. Well, I think it's important to catalogue it.
It's important to catalogue it and say what it is. Yeah, I agree, but it needs to be done the right way.
Yeah, but I'm just really conscious of, I don't want to name and shame anybody.
No, I mean you're not doing it for that.
No, I'm not. And it's not an attack on anybody. No. It's just I'm just looking at what the land like that. It's like what are the symptoms that of this? Why does this need to exist? Why are the people in little groups where the only motivation is to hate a minority of like 1.7% of the population? Why does that exist?
And Robbie Travers, you really need to do better, because you're
well, he is. Nice. I blocked him now.
Yeah.
Initially, I did speak to him and I wanted to do a conversation with him.
I wouldn't.
And he sort of agreed at first, and I thought, well, this will be interesting. And I have tried to speak to gender critical people to try, not because I want to antagonize them, it's because I want to know why they think the way they do. And I was invited onto Talk TV again, but
did you accept that?
No, because I just don't think the way they... I mean, I did think about doing it because I thought it'd be interesting to do it.
Who would that have been with?
Julia Hartley-Brewer.
God.
But, this is somebody that's platformed Kelly J. Keane, it's somebody that, she's her colours are definitely nailed to the mast on this, it's not
going to give you an easy passage in that show, do you?
But I don't, that's not why I wouldn't do it. It's just because I don't want to be... the debate doesn't work like that. It's not like I'm on one side and they're on another.
No, but the questions that she's going to have are all pre-chosen, and she knows the triggers.
Yeah,
you got to be careful.
Well, that's why I didn't do it, because but there is people I would speak to. I mean, I don't want to speak to people that just agree with me. That's the thing.
You got to be careful which ones you do and don't do.
I'm interested.
And a lot of people will just refuse in our community. Will just refuse to go on any of those kind of things.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You see, there's no trans voices because they frighten us away with this stuff. But I'm not frightened of, I could have that. I could have an argument with Julia Hartley-Brewer or anyone about, but I don't want to have to defend my existence. You know what I mean?
That's what you would end up doing.
Yeah, but I just, if they can argue with me on some factual thing, then fine.
Yeah.
But
anyway, moving on then. So EHRC gaslighting. Did you see that one?
I've seen the posts about
this. So it's Awareness Week.
Trans Awareness Week.
And then the EHRC has come out with what looks like a positive kind of, we're supporting transgender people. And yet this is the same organization that was recently putting out guidance around how you can, exclude trans people from public places, et cetera, et cetera. So they were being very negative.
Yeah.
Recently, and there was there's been investigations by Steph's Place.
Yeah, we know
did a
that
podcast on it. There's been all kinds of stuff going on there, and yet suddenly they come out with this what looks like a positive statement. So very hypocritical, very gaslighty. It's like, what are they trying? Who are they trying to fool?
Well, the thing is, we know that organization now has been corrupted.
Yeah, I mean
and that we know that the people in, is she called Faulkner?
Yeah,
Baroness. There's always a fucking baroness, isn't there? Or
one of those baronesses.
Countess.
Countess, baroness, whatever.
Lady transphobia from Cambridge. Whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, who are these people?
Well, who appointed them?
I mean, yeah, but they're always these.
I believe it was one of our most recent ex-prime ministers that appointed them. So we all know who that was.
So this is a corrupt organization, and it's been exposed as such by Vice magazine.
Yeah, Vice magazine. Was it Ben Hunt?
Yeah,
who did all that? And in the background,
But they had this whole the Tory party had this whole thing about redoing the Human Rights Act and all this. They don't like human rights. It's like the old immigration plan.
Well, it's all linked and it's all related to Brexit and all that nonsense.
Yeah, because they're trying to pacify or placate people that hate this idea of an invasion of immigrants and all that. So when they talk about human rights, you'll see it in the press. They'll talk about lefty lawyers. There's no such thing as a lefty lawyer. They just know the law. The law is the law. It's not left or right. So with that Rwanda plan and all that.
Oh God, yeah. It's the same people all the time, though, isn't it? It's the same kind of conservative. It's the same group.
Well, they're just performing these kind of actions that they want to appeal to a certain kind of voter. It's like government run by the Daily Mail.
Yeah. You should have seen some of the comments that were written against what EHRC had done with this statement they put out. Like pretty much every well-known trans person that I know had put in some statement like, what the hell are you talking about? So everybody knows what they're up to. It was disturbing to see that. It's a proper case of gaslighting. I mean, that organization needs to be. I don't know what you do with it. I mean, when Labour gets in, hopefully they will fix the problem.
Right. For the longest time, trans people have just got on with being trans. There's been problems with healthcare.
It's all over the past few recent years. All this,
but because we've become weaponized as a media story,
and the media,
and we've become like this thing of wokeness. that's why they're going for that, because they can. It's sort of like people like Kimmy. Is she called Kemi Badenoch?
Yeah.
She will say stuff like, trans women are men blatantly because she knows who it appeals to.
Well, they're appealing to their base, aren't they?
And they're appealing to a kind of, they're
appealing to their base. They want their base to hear what they think their base wants to hear.
Well, they call it
they're
common
hoping
sense.
that converts to votes to keep them in power for whatever else other evil things they want to do.
But isn't the point of politics to better the world? I thought maybe I'm just being naive. You know what I mean?
What have the Conservatives done to better anything?
Bugger all.
I can't think of anything. They've been here for 12 years, and what good thing have they done so far?
But I think this might come back to Brexit, like you said, because
it does.
Since then,
it has roots in Brexit.
The whole thing
has roots into the reasons why Brexit even happened.
Well, there's this whole idea of British values, and British. It's like what is this crap? You know what I mean? It's like nobody agrees.
But it's not really British. It's not the UK. It's England. I have to say it's England that's doing
it's England. Well, they don't. Well, I'd much rather live in Scotland.
I would. Let's move. Come on, let's move.
When you consider, you only have to look, right. When I was reading recently, Jeremy Corbyn and all the hate. There was never so much hate directed at a politician ever than Jeremy Corbyn, right? And I'm not saying Jeremy Corbyn was the answer to anything. And he made some oversights about anti-Semitism. We know that. But the thing is, I've never seen people come for somebody sort of vehemently and attack somebody's character in such a way. The Daily Mail ran so many stories about why he was evil.
Well, they view him as evil and dangerous for some reason.
Yeah,
Jeremy's just a nice guy.
But when you look at the history of the Daily Mail, they actually praised Hitler more.
Mm.
If you look at the history of it, they were in favor of Hitler.
Well, Jeremy has come out with a really good positive statement for Trans Awareness Week. I shall read it to you.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
The resilience of trans people in the face of endless marginalization is an inspiration to us all. This Trans Awareness Week, let's empower trans communities in their struggle for justice and celebrate their strength and joy. There is no debate. Trans rights are human rights. So thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, and I don't want to look at the comments on that.
Well, there are lots of. There's 32,000 likes for beginners, 5,000 retweets, 580.
I will have a look at that. Actually.
Yeah, have a look at it. There's some really good ones. Actually, you've replied to it. You've said because we are more special than Jesus. Yeah, but you see, I find it hard to with that. India Willoughby, thank you, Jeremy, for your ongoing support. The list of thank yous just goes on and on and on. I mean, it's great to see it. You will find that even though we talk about a lot of negative stuff, there is a lot of negative stuff about trans, but I think if you look in the right places, most people that comment are very supportive of us, because it's not that they think we're special, or we think we're just because you're trans. You're special. We are special.
Well, I'm special.
I'm special.
Let's face it. But it's because people recognize that we are harmed by negative comments. It's like I was.
Who isn't harmed by continuous negativity?
Janie Godley.
Yeah.
Well, I spoke to Janie Godley because she does a little Twitter space, and it's like, because it was like medicine to me, because I've been in these negative Twitter spaces.
Yeah, you need the antidote. It
was amazing to be in that space where she was like, yeah, this one, and everybody's agreeing and saying, good on you. And
I went into one that Margaret Atwood was in after that one we were in the other night.
Wow.
Yeah, she was talking about her books and things.
People really misinterpret.
So positive.
But it's
the antidote to the Travers nonsense.
I think because we are involved in the politics side of it, it really is hard not to feel negative all the time. So when it's like I said before, once one celebrity says something positive, we kind of jump on it.
We're all over them.
We're all over it because we're like, oh, fantastic!
Somebody likes us. Yeah. Somebody likes us.
Oh my god, yeah. But it is like that. It's really refreshing when somebody sticks their head above the parapet and says, "Oh, hang on a minute, this trans thing. It's nothing to worry about, really."
Well, if you want to see positivity, you need to go to the Trans in the City event. Over 600 people in that evening event, all trans, non-binary.
I think some of the negativity towards us is based on the fact that we are a community in a way. We're not just because we're trans, we don't necessarily have everything in common.
Yeah, we're not a one mind, are we?
We are a supportive community.
We're not a hive mind.
So the GCs, the TERFs, they've got to create their little hate community to counter, because there's kind of jealousy in a way. I don't know if that's right, but it just feels like that sometimes. It feels like they want to have their little, they want to feel a part of something, but we are just part of something by default. We seek out people.
We are who we are, and we try to defend ourselves.
I am what I am. But you know what I mean?
Karaoke midnight now.
But you know what I mean? It's like, it feels like, we are part. That's why we're part of the LGBTQI thing, because people recognize the same kind of oppression. It's not. It's like this idea of taking the T out of the LGBT. It's because there's something really purist about that, and there's something really puritanical about the idea of defining sex and gender, which is what I think Kathleen Stock and Helen Joyce do. They try and it feels to me like they have some kind of dogmatic idea of what they think sex is. So they don't want anybody to deviate from that, because they're the deviants.
They're the professors on sex.
Yes.
The sex, we should refer to them as the sex professors, shouldn't we?
But the thing is, I play into that. I am a deviant and I am a fetishist, and I love all that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong. As long as I'm not hurting anybody. Well, I might spank some guy now and again. But
S&M.
But he loves it, I mean,
talking of pain and S&M, no, that's a bad connection. GRA Scotland.
Shall we go down that rabbit hole?
No. GRA Scotland has now got to stage 2.
Okay. Oh, I missed this one. I missed this.
Did you? Okay. I'm not sure if it's gone through completely stage 2, but one of the changes, the amendments that was made, was for people, those aged 16 to 17 will need to live in their acquired gender for a minimum of 6 months rather than 3 months for anybody over the age of 17. I think there was also a new offence being introduced of making a fraudulent application for a gender recognition certificate will become, an offence, a criminal offence.
Well, that's to stop trolls.
Yeah,
that's to stop the kind of people that were trying to.
I mean, that's not going to affect anybody who's genuine anyway. So that's
exactly. Okay. Yeah, because there was a case of somebody applying for one, wasn't there, to try and make a point.
Well, yeah, people might try and do that. I can imagine the gender crits doing that to make points. But the 17-year-olds being required to wait 6 months instead of 3. What do you think about that?
How old?
16 and 17.
I don't know really.
So in England, you have to be 18 to use the GRA. In Scotland, I think this amendment, they're reducing it to 16. But it looks like they're trying to put in some controls around 16 to 17-year-olds to make them wait 6 months so that they're, I guess.
But even in all cases, you still need somebody to advocate, like a doctor or a parent or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in the big picture of things, an extra 3 months for a piece of paper is not that. I guess it's not that serious. If it was a delay medical treatment, that would be serious. But at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper, and we have to wait.
Well, that's it. The problem with the thing that worries some people is they think that just because you can apply for something, it means it makes you something. It's like. It's not really that. It's like suddenly, like, oh yes, somebody could suddenly become a woman. You don't become a woman because of a piece of paper. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't become a driver because I've got a provisional driving license. You know what I mean? It's just a document.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything within itself. It's just, but the thing is, if you are trans,
it's behind. It's what's behind the piece of paper.
It's a legal thing, isn't it? So
what's behind the driving license? Well, months of testing and learning how to drive. So it's like
So like, we're learning how to walk in heels, how to do lipstick, how to do your highlighter.
Are you suggesting that there should be a gender recognition driving test?
There should be a gender recognition school.
Test.
Yeah.
How to apply your makeup.
I've got to learn how to walk like a woman. That's it. If you can walk down the street and pass as a lady.
You're pretty good with the megaphone. I'll give you that.
But I know we make fun out of this, but there is a serious point.
Yeah, I mean
that people who are on a gender pathway medically, I know people change, people detransition and retransition and all that, but the actual legality of it, it's just a piece of paper. I can understand like some people saying, when the argument about prisons, but the problem with that argument is people assume that when you go to prison, you maintain the rights you would have as a civilian. When you go to prison, you lose all your rights.
I wasn't planning on going to prison, Freda.
But the thing is that's one of the arguments against it, but they don't understand that. It's like, do you think that people that have been sent down for serious crimes where you're going to serve time are going to be listened to in the sense of you've got a gender recognition certificate?
Well, I think
the first thing they'll rip it up.
Yeah, and your rights are suspended as you enter the prison system.
Exactly.
You go through a risk assessment.
When you go into a prison, you become a nobody.
Yeah, and you go through risk assessment so they can place you in.
Exactly. So the argument doesn't even fucking make sense.
No.
Like, I'm not suggesting that
we're not going to prison.
I wouldn't suggest you would go to prison.
But if you go to prison, I'll visit.
I
will visit you. I'll bring you a cake with a gun inside it.
What about this bank robbery we're planning?
What bank robbery? You're never hope. Robbery?
We're like Thelma and Louise.
Vicky and Freda. Have you had any more thoughts around your positive action thingy?
What positive? Have I missed something here?
For demonstrate, protesting, positive action.
I'm always protesting.
You were talking about getting a tank.
Oh, well, yeah. The thing is, I met a guy. Well, I got talking to a guy on a dating site and he had a massive Hummer, one of those Humvee things.
What are you going to say then?
And he, and he said he would pick me up. I said, God, you know what we need to do? We need to get a water cannon on top of this thing. You were
going to go down to Tufton Street and spray the building again, weren't you? Yeah. With your water cannon paint. Yeah. And I gave you the idea of maybe you should use some rainbow paint. I'm not sure how that would work exactly, but
can you get
you had any more ideas? That was my question. Other things that you could do.
Well, I have got more protest ideas, but it's just I don't know where to do them because I've got the idea with the megaphone. I like causing a disturbance.
Disturbances, yeah.
Disturbances.
That's kind of harmless. Doesn't affect anybody apart from their ears.
Yeah, I want to keep it quiet though at the moment because I don't want people.
You want to keep your megaphone quiet?
No, I want to keep what I'm going to do quiet because
yes, okay.
I don't want to see somebody could listen to this and then if I say what I'm going to do,
they could go and intercept you.
Yeah. Well, some things are going to happen in 2023.
Something's going to happen in 2023.
Yeah.
What you mean with you?
Some protests, yeah.
All right, okay. Stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to turn up on the back of a Hummer with a super soaker full of rainbow paint. That's possible.
I think we should probably do some testing first.
But you see how would the rainbow paint thing work? Because you can get tubes of toothpaste where you get the 3 stripes.
Yeah. So So you want a rainbow version of that?
Could you do that?
You could have a spray gun that sprays all the colours at the same time, and it would just kind of merge and splatter, a bit like my background.
We see I will give away one of my ideas. You know, you can buy smoke bombs.
Yeah.
So if you got a red smoke bomb, a yellow smoke bomb, a blue one, and right through the spectrum, if you could just deploy those in
just
one,
end up with smog, I think.
Yeah, but imagine the smoke. You know, it'd be like this massive cloud of
Cloud of
pride.
colourful smoke. Yeah, that would be interesting.
And I'd emerge from the fog
with your megaphone.
Yeah. Going, trans women are women. Oh, that's something I want. You know, did you see the protest, the counter protest to Kelly Keene's New York thing? She wasn't allowed to speak.
Yeah, she was huddled away in some room. Some policeman.
Well, as far as I can work out, what the police did, they said, "Look, lady, listen, lady, it's too dangerous.
Yeah, you're not coming on our turf and doing that turf.
Don't do this, baby." They were like, because the counter protest was so strong.
I love New Yorkers for that.
And they were outnumbered basically by about 10-1.
Well, everybody said, don't come to New York and try and do this shit.
Well, exactly, because the street queens, they're. But did you see that? Did you see those two? There was one with a woolly hat on with the boobs out, going, "Trans women are beautiful." We're gonna have to put that on the end of the podcast. But yeah, it was song. It was absolutely beautiful to see, and I'd love to find. I want to know who those people are.
I think you put that on your Twitter.
Yeah, I actually did share it. I've got the video if you want it. I think, did I not send it to you?
You might have done. I think.
Yeah, we'll put it on the end of the recording for today.
If there's a yeah, okay, we'll sort that out later.
I'll send you the audio file.
Right. Yeah, I'll add that in.
Is there anything else in the news?
There is something else, yes. British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, both coming out with very positive things. So British Airways has dropped rules around men wearing makeup and piercings.
Oh, that's good.
So that's good. So, it's allowing people to be themselves at work, which is always good.
Yeah.
And Virgin Atlantic allowing their crew to use pronoun badges and wear uniforms to express their gender identity.
Oh gosh, this will wind up the people at GB News, won't it?
But it's interesting that two major airlines have come out and done that recently. I'm not sure if that was in preparation for Trans Awareness Week. Probably was.
The thing with these stories is when they're in the papers.
Oh yeah, there'll be an outrage. Oh.
And then you see it in Jeremy Vine or whatever. It's like, oh, they make this. It's this fake idea that people are making other people agree to something. So if somebody wants to use a pronoun badge, they're not forced to do it. It's a choice.
No one's forcing them to do it. No one's forcing
it's an option
to wear a different uniform.
It's like it's an option.
It's allowing the individuals who, to express their gender identity just like they would when they're not at work. So it's just like bring yourself to work, which is better for people's mental health, etc., etc. It's all good. It's all positive. Yeah, but
it's like
better for productivity.
On my work bag, I've got a badge from the LGBT Foundation, and it says she, her, and I just stick it on my bag. It's just a little thing. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, what I mean? It's just a bit of a, exactly, something like that. And if people ask, people always refer to me as she or whatever anyway, but it's like, I just find it part of, it's like sending a little sign out that you're not an arsehole. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
I was going to get this.
If you could wear a badge.
I was going to get permanently attached to my forehead. What do you think?
But if you could wear a badge that says, look, I'm not a cunt.
That's what mine says.
Exactly. And when people see that, and if you're the kind of person that looks at that and goes, oh my God, this is awful, you're making me think things I don't want to think. It's like, sod off. Do you know what I mean? Because it's how what it's doing is sending a positive message to people that might feel unincluded. It's not making the majority of people feel excluded, is it?
Did I show you my little man?
What's that? I can't see it because of you. No, what's that?
It like the arms come off. They're like little marker. It's a little marker.
Is it Lego?
No, it's like a like one of those corporate giveaway thingies, you know. So it's like it's a little man, and his arms come off. They're all marker pens or highlighters.
Oh, I see. Where'd you get that?
It was at work at that wellness event that we did. And this is
his Mohican.
This is a board eraser, and that thing, it actually, if I can pull it down, it actually comes down. I can't move it. Oh, there you go. It disappears. So that, I'm not sure what that's for. I think it's brushing away dust off your keyboard or something. This is a dry eraser.
It's like it's got a little mohawk. I like it.
A little mohawk, yeah. So there you go.
Where's mine?
Corporate tack.
Yeah. Well, we give away pens at work now and again, you know.
I got all kinds of goodies from John's in the City. I got a nice water bottle from RS Components. You can't see it, it's disappearing in my background.
I need to come to these events. I can get loads of free stuff.
Thank you, Emily Hamilton. Yeah, I've got loads of lanyards. There's all kinds of freebies. It's great. If you're a freebie collector like me, and you like collecting corporate tack, it's such a good event.
There must be there's a whole industry of
merchandise of giving away merchandise. I call it corporate tack, but it is actually proper merchandise. I apologize for my flippantness.
If we get more popular, we should make some gender nebulous corporate.
Should we have a table next year then? Should we have a table at the next year's event? Gender nebulous table.
Yeah, we should have some key rings made or something.
We could do a live podcast from the show, couldn't we?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think we're probably YouTube's most unpopular podcasters.
Hey, it can only get better.
Well, we've got to keep we have 15 viewers on YouTube. So
today, 15.
Wow, yeah.
Okay, who are they? Who are you, people?
I think Roger's listening.
Give me some names.
My friend, he's.
I can't see. I can see some chats coming through. I will just do a shout out for some of these. I've seen one from Plankton 1975.
That's Roger.
Yeah. That's Roger. Okay. And there's another one from Sarah Warner, but I think the message has been retracted, so I'm not sure what Sarah was saying.
Always something abusive.
Probably something abusive. I'm not sure there's any more. Can you see any more than that?
I know, that's it, really.
Just the comments, okay. But you say
we're doing all right, though. You know,
people watching.
We're getting plenty of views.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is there nothing else to do at this time of day? So is that why they're watching us?
Well, I think the thing is, Vicky, we're not very consistent, are we? Because we keep.
That's
going...
you. That's you. Because you have to go to work, you know.
Yeah, because this month I've had to do a couple of weekends. So normally I'd like to do this on a Sunday service.
That's our standard.
Yeah.
Day.
So next week it'll be Sunday.
Friday. Next week it'll be Sunday. Yeah, hopefully, unless you're working again.
No, I'll be off. No, I'm not going to agree to do any more Sunday.
Yeah, so we're back to our usual schedule, hopefully.
So is there anything else in the news? Have we missed anything?
Nothing else in the news. There probably was. I mean, that's not the whole news. That was just the things that kind of caught my attention.
Is that Ukraine thing sorted out now?
No, that's still.
Damn.
Do you like
Can we sort it out? Can we sort it out? No.
So, I could be a newsreader. What do you think?
I think we've talked enough nonsense for one day.
We've talked enough nonsense. I think we've done our hour.
Have we?
Yeah. Well, time goes by.
Like I did like talking about, something positive at the end usually. So I think the, trans in the city thing was great.
City was this week's big, important, positive thing.
Yeah, and there's been a load of really nice posts around that, about the people that won awards and things. I think that's really good.
Congratulations to all the winners.
Yeah. And we'll post all that on Twitter.
We will.
I've got a state of me, what's going on?
So what are you doing? What are you doing next week? Got any plans this week coming up?
Well, I'm working until Friday now. So I'm working Saturday and Sunday and right through.
You don't have any more dates scheduled?
No more gigs yet. No.
No dates. Dates.
Oh, dates as in like
as in, like going out with men or
no
people.
No, I might do. I mean, I don't know. I don't have bloody schedule for that. People just message me and said, "Do you want to meet?"
So it's kind of like a spur of the moment thing.
Did you see me post on Twitter?
Which one?
Brian Cox and Brian Cox. And I thought, I want 2 cocks at once.
No comment.
That's not an advert, by the way. I'm not.
I think it was.
I'm not putting that out there.
Okay.
Right, anyway, on that note.
Yes. On that note, we should say our goodbyes to our lovely.
Well, it's lovely to chat again.
Thank you very much for listening and watching. Please, if you enjoyed this nonsense, please subscribe and like, and tell all your friends, and tell them to subscribe and like them too. And then, Freda, you make sure all your friends do it as well.
I will. I'll mither them to death.
Yeah, mither everybody to death so much that they all just never watch us again. And
please like us. Please subscribe.
We don't do it for the likes and subscribes, do we?
Yes, we do.
Do we? Okay.
Yeah, because I want to make some bloody money out of this.
Never going to make money out of this. Let me tell you, you're never going to.
YouTube advertising.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. Not for a very, very long time.
I don't work for free. I work for biscuits.
So I will end the live first, and then we'll finish the podcast. So shall we say goodbye to our YouTube listeners, watchers?
Bye. Don't forget to subscribe.